Hello everyone, welcome to my first full-length video on my new channel, Passport and Pumps. Because I have been a Las Vegas local for over 12 years, I felt like it only made sense to start off with some Las Vegas focused content. I've been on social media for over a decade. I started shortly after I moved to Las Vegas. And one of the most common questions I get from followers is, where is the best place to eat in Las Vegas? So in today's video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 restaurant recommendations on the Strip and downtown. There are several incredible restaurants off Strip, but most people want to know where they should eat either on the Las Vegas Strip or in downtown Las Vegas. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't have as much knowledge of downtown restaurants as I probably should, but now that I've started this channel, I do think I am going to be checking out a lot more of them. My recommendations are also going to be on the higher end price-wise. They're not the most expensive restaurants in town, but many of them are up there. And you should expect to spend about $75 to $100 a person without alcohol. Alcohol, depending on how much you drink, is going to bring that number per person much higher. So in addition to my top 5 restaurants, I'm also going to share with you 3 or 4 restaurants that I feel are quite overrated. I've been to them several times and my experiences have just never been that great. The restaurants I'm labeling overrated, in my opinion, are all about looks and vibes. But when it comes down to good service and good food, I find them to be a little lacking. And my criteria for the best restaurants are the quality of the food. I've gone to all of these restaurants at least 2 times, and the quality of the food has always been excellent. In addition, I look for good service. If you are going to a restaurant and you are spending a lot of money on a meal, not only should that meal be good, but the service should be top notch. And if there's a problem with your meal or someone in your party's meal, how do they handle that? And then my third and final criteria is the ambiance. Is it too loud? Can you really enjoy yourself? I think it's pretty clear that I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 30s. So I am not someone who wants to go out to a nice dinner and not be able to talk to the person I'm with or the group that I'm with. That's not to say that I never enjoy a louder, more party vibe when I'm out to dinner. For the most part, I do prefer a restaurant that's a little bit more low-key. I enjoy some good music playing. I enjoy some good lighting, but I don't want to feel like I'm in a nightclub. So in at number 5, Barry's Prime at Circa. Circa is located in downtown Las Vegas. It is a 21 and over resort, meaning you actually have to be 21 to even enter the building. It's not just the gaming floor, unless you are going to one of the restaurants. You have to show that you have a reservation at that restaurant, and then you can bring in someone under the age of 21. The first time we went to Barry's Prime, we took my son, who was underage. They did check all of our IDs, and then they had to call someone to come to the parking garage and walk us down to Barry's Prime. So it's a little inconvenient if you're dining with someone under 21. If not, no problems at all. The restaurant is beautiful. The food was amazing. The service was impeccable. There actually was sort of loud music playing, but it wasn't to the point where you couldn't hear the people at your table. So Barry's Prime is definitely a winner in my book. Now, if you're not staying downtown or you don't wish to take a taxi or an Uber to downtown, the rest of my recommendations are on Las Vegas Boulevard. And by the way, I know there are going to be people who disagree with my list, but to each their own. These are just the restaurants that I would recommend based on my experiences. Of course, I have not eaten at every restaurant in Vegas, but these are restaurants that when we have friends come to town and we're trying to figure out where to eat, we tend to make reservations at these places because they are consistently so good, like Mastro's. And yes, there are Mastro's locations in many other places. And while admittedly the ambiance at Mastro's Ocean Club in Newport Coast is much nicer because you are across the street from the ocean versus being in the middle of basically a shopping mall. Not basically, it is a shopping mall. It is inside of the Crystal's shops. It's a very nice, very high-end shopping mall, but it's still a mall. But they have done their best to design the restaurant to be very architecturally interesting. It's always pretty lively in there, especially in the bar area. Ladies, it's a good excuse to maybe leave for dinner a little bit early and go check out some of the designer shops before dinner. I have eaten at that Mastro's at least 10 times, and I've never, ever been disappointed. The pretzel bread that they give you at the start of the meal is to die for. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not speak about the infamous Mastro's butter cake. No matter how full I am, I simply cannot not have at least a couple bites of butter cake. It would just not be right. The butter cake is a no-brainer. We also love their seafood tower. Number 3, another steakhouse. SW Steakhouse at Wynn. Now, of course, at all of these restaurants, you can order things other than a steak. But I'll tell you, if you're going to be doing some drinking at night, you don't want to just have a little bit of sushi in your stomach, especially if you're a little bit older. You want to have something substantial, not too substantial because you don't want to feel sick or have heartburn, but it's good to have something a little bit more filling, a good protein in your system if you're going to be drinking. So SW Steakhouse. This one gets bonus points for its location and the free show that you can hopefully see while you're eating dinner. SW Steakhouse is located down some escalators or a flight of stairs, and there's this huge waterfall. Now, I can't recall how often the shows happen, but here's a little example of one of the shows that was going on while I was eating dinner there about a year ago. I don't know how often they change the shows, but how rare is it in Vegas that you get that kind of entertainment at no extra cost? Now, don't get me wrong, you are paying a pretty penny to eat at SW, but that should come as no surprise, being that you are at the Wynn, which is one of the nicest, if not the nicest hotels here in Las Vegas. So not only are you having wonderful food, great service, you get to see a show, but if you're not staying at Wynn, you're also getting to just walk around the resort beforehand. The Wynn has some of the best high-end shops, not to mention the beautiful florals, just the decor everywhere in that resort is just so upscale, so beautiful. In at number 2, I have Delilah. This one I know is going to be a little bit controversial because I know some people do think that it's overrated, and I have to disagree because the 3 times that I've been there, while I will admit it is not easy to score a reservation unless you are staying at Wynn. In that case, it still might be difficult to get a reservation, but if you speak to the concierge at Wynn, you are a lot more likely to be able to get a reservation than if you go onto 7 Rooms, which I believe is the website that you still have to book Delilah from. I haven't been in about a year, but I remember when I last went, we booked through 7 Rooms, and you're not always going to get the best times. You may have to book several months in advance, although some people have said that you can often get last minute reservations if people cancel and you're on some sort of waiting list or you have a host at Wynn. There are ways to get a table that I'm sure I am unaware of. Every time I've eaten there, our food has been really, really good. The last time we went, however, we were seated at a not so great table. My friend and I and her husband were seated in like this corner booth where her husband was facing the exit. My friend and I were facing into the dining room, and then my husband was sitting in the chair facing my friend and I. However, people were walking by constantly and hitting the back of his chair. Waiters, people that were being sat, it was just too congested and he kept getting bumped. And yeah, when you're paying that kind of money and you've waited weeks or months for that experience and you're constantly getting, hit while you're in your chair, that's not okay. So we were able to get a manager who very, very promptly moved us to a prime table right in front of where all the action is, where the performers are. You've got dancers, you've got singers, you've got a live band, and it's so old Vegas glorious. I would show you some of my own footage. However, you are not allowed to photograph inside of Delilah. You are not allowed to take pictures, video. Some people do, but I am a rule follower, so I have not done that yet. Maybe someday I will. But for now, any B-roll I add to this video is either going to be someone else's or I'll just show you photos from the outside. And my number one top Las Vegas restaurant is number one because it is the restaurant that I have been to the most out of all of these. Again, consistently good service, consistently good food. There's something for everyone. The restaurant is lively. It's not super pretentious. The drinks are fantastic. And I do think the prices are pretty reasonable. And that is Joe's Stone Crab. Whether you are a seafood lover or you are a steak lover, or even if you're a vegetarian, they have options for you as well. It is on a separate menu, but they do have options. Okay, let me run quickly through the restaurants that I feel are overrated. And I say that they're overrated because while their ambiance is incredible, these restaurants are beautiful. They're great for taking photos for Instagram, but service and food-wise, I have been let down time and time again. And I'm actually not going to put these in any particular order. I'm just going to rattle them off. STK at Cosmopolitan. It used to be great, not so much anymore. It's extremely loud, the service is slow, and the food is very hit or miss. If you had asked me 8 years ago to make a top 5 restaurants list, STK would have been on it, but now it's at the bottom for me. I do not recommend it anymore. I also no longer recommend Catch at Aria. Is it beautiful? Yes. Do they have some great drinks? Yes. But wow, the last couple times we have gone there, the food and service have been horrible. The last time I went there was in March, and it was during March Madness, so I get that they were very, very busy, and we were a party of, I think, around 12. They put us in this back room, which I understand some people want a private room, but when you're going to a restaurant like Catch, you kind of want to be in the main dining room. You kind of want to be where the action is. You do want to hear the music. You do want to people watch. You do get all dressed up to see and be seen. So when you're put in this back corner by yourselves, again, if you ask for it, that's totally fine. And I know you might think I'm being contradictory because on the one hand, I say I don't want it to be too loud. And then on the other hand, I'm saying I do want to be where the action is. There's a balance. As I said at the very beginning, it's not that I don't like a little bit of music and a little bit of liveliness. I just don't want it to sound like a nightclub. And Catch doesn't really sound like a nightclub. You can still have conversation. But getting back to our experience in March, we were in that back corner and we were kind of disappointed, but we thought, oh well, it is what it is. This is obviously the only place that they could put us. The waiter comes by and he takes our drink order. And then we wait and we wait some more. And we wait some more. We waited about 30 minutes. So he comes back and he says, "Can I take your order?" And my friend says, "Well, we haven't even gotten our drinks yet. We would like to have our drinks before we place our order." So he said, "No worries. I'll come back with your drinks as soon as possible. The bar's just really backed up. We're down several people." And mind you, we were not rude to the server. We are always extremely, extremely kind to servers because we know that they are most likely very stressed. They are most likely working on a very slim crew, which is what he explained to us. He said that they had a new manager and that they were still looking to hire people. They don't have enough bartenders. They don't have enough bar backs. They don't have enough servers. Long story short, we do get our drinks. Some of the drinks were not very good at all. I had ordered a sushi roll because I wasn't very hungry. I took one bite of that sushi roll and I kind of wanted to spit it out. And if you are a sushi lover, you know that's the worst feeling. But it was so bad. And I think it was the catch roll, which is supposed to be one of their most popular rolls that I thought I had had before another time I was there. But this was just awful. And of course I had other people taste it to make sure it wasn't just me that thought it was awful, but everyone thought it was some of the worst sushi ever. So I didn't even eat any more of it because I didn't want to get sick. I wasn't sure if there was something bad in it. Once we were out of there, we all said to each other, this is the last time we're going to eat at Catch. And finally, I hate to say it because it is relatively new and it is a beautiful restaurant, Toca Madera. I'm sorry, but I've been there 3 times and the drinks were good. The food was good. However, the portion that you get for what you're paying is outrageous. And they too will try to rush you. That is another restaurant that says that they want everything in at once. Your drinks, your dinner, your dessert. I have a feeling someone from the restaurant industry is going to comment on this video and say, well, they do it for this reason or this reason. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a little off-putting to feel like you're being rushed. I can totally understand a restaurant not wanting a large group to take up a table and just be sitting there after they're done eating for hours, not ordering any other food, not ordering any other drinks. But me and my friends, when we go out as a group, we're not stopping. We're not just sitting there ordering nothing for 2 hours. We like to space out our meal. We order a lot of drinks. Well, I personally don't. I can't have more than 2 drinks these days without really regretting it the next day. But let's just say we're spending enough money where we feel that the restaurant isn't going to be losing out on anything by allowing us to take our time and enjoy our meal. Now, I'm not talking about sitting there for 3-4 hours, but for dinner like that, 2 hours, totally reasonable, I think. So the bottom line is, if you want great pictures, you want great vibes, some good but very overpriced drinks, and service and food quality aren't at the top of your list, then sure, check out STK, Toca Madera, Catch. By the way, Toca Madera does have some cool entertainment. Last time I was there, they had women walking around and they were doing some fire dancing and some other cool, lively, fun to watch entertainment. Again, perfect for if you are making a TikTok video or you're posting on social media for your friends. It's definitely visually appealing. So that's it. That's my list of the best restaurants to have dinner in Las Vegas, on the Strip and downtown. Again, once this channel gets going and I kind of get my footing a little bit more and get feedback from you all, I will start venturing out into some new restaurants. So let me know in the comments what some other restaurants are that you've either been to or heard about that you want me to do a review on, because I can always do a YouTube short or perhaps a full-length video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are interested in following a channel dedicated to travel, fashion, and fun, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more.